However, there is another type of offender who not only inflicts emotional abuse, but damages the victim physically as well. This next man, Gerald, is a sadistic offender. The victim he's describing is his 9-year-old stepson.
After about 2 years of my son and all the that I had been buying, renting, swapping, I had gotten my hands on some bondage and discipline with children involved. And some of the reading that I had done and the pictures that I had seen showed total submission, forcing the children to do what I wanted. And I had eventually started using some of this bondage and discipline with my own son. And it had escalated to the point where I was I used the same sadistic styled act of the plastic bag and the tape 2-3 times a week. 2-3 times a week. 2-3 times a week. And that went on for, I'd say, a little over a year. If I hadn't been arrested when I was, my stepson would be dead. I would have killed him. I had been fantasizing about killing a victim during the course of about 5 or 6 months, all during the course of my stepson, when I was using the Ziploc, the plastic bag over his head. I had fantasized and thought about killing him, letting him go ahead and suffocate. I believe it would have been maybe as short as another month or 2, and I would have actually killed him if I was not arrested.
Gerald's sadistic attacks continued despite the fact that his stepson reported him repeatedly. No one believed the child.
It was reported to my wife and my parents probably 6 or 7 different times. And there was actually one instance where I went to the police station myself to turn myself in. And the officer at the desk told me to go home and sleep off my drunk. And I left. If it wasn't for the fact that my landlord had found some pictures of my son in the attic of the home where we were living, I would probably still be.
As you might expect, Gerald didn't confine his assaults to the home. In fact, he had a lengthy history of attacking children outside the home as well. He had molested children from ages 4 to 16, with a preference for 10 to 14-year-old boys.
I've been for over a period of 25 years, and I have in excess of 300 victims.
Hands-on victims?
All hands-on victims.
Okay. How did you get access to so many victims?
Children are on the street all the time.
Now, by pick them up, do you mean by grooming? You talk them into it, or do you mean violently grab them and kidnap them?
Sometimes there had been some violent kidnapping. Snatching a child off the street, pulling him into my car, taking him to a deserted area, and then taking him back to where I had snatched him from. There had been instances where I would groom the child with toys, money. I'd see a child in a store standing around the toy displays, and I would offer to buy the toy that this child may be looking at, and would actually walk up to the counter and pay for the toy and walk out of the store with the child and the toy.
Gerald covered up his by living what might be called the double life. Friends and associates had no clue he was a violent man.
I believe I feel more that I led a triple life. I was one way at home, I was one way at work, and I was a different way in the community. When I was at home, I was a monster. I would. When I was in the community, I was more of a stalker. I would be stalking people, stalking children, looking for victims. When I was more with my employers or the in crowd that I was in, it was something, I was completely different as, oh, I'm the perfect individual. This is what I would portray to them. What people didn't know about going on in my home was a lot of extreme violence.